Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we welcome all the devotees for today's discussion. I will be reading another very important verse. We've been discussing about the glories of Bhakti Yoga. Still continuing that. The glories of Bhakti Yoga is unlimited. We can go on talking forever. But we are just selecting few important verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So today's verse is also very, very interesting through this one wonderful analogy that what Bhakti brings in our life. And we'll find it very relevant in our discussion. So this verse is from the 11th canto, 2nd chapter, text number 42, which is also quoted many times by Srila Prabhupada. This verse says, and goes like this: Bhakti pareshan ubhavo viraktir anyatra chaishadri ekakalaha prapadyamanasya yathasnathashyus tushti pushti chud apayo nughasham. It's a very nice verse. It says that basically the analogy is when a person who is hungry and then hungry person, when he starts eating a good meal, then what happens? Three things happens to him. Tusti, pusti, shud apayo. Tusti means the satisfaction. Pusti means the nourishment. And shud apayo means the hunger is dissipated. So the hungry person who eats a good meal, he gets nourishment, he gets satisfaction, and also his hunger is dissipated. In the same way, a person, prapadyamanasya, who take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, then three things happens to him. What happens? Bhakti, par ishanu viraktir. Par ishanu bhava and viraktir. So when somebody try to take the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet through the process of Krishna consciousness, through the process of Bhakti Yoga, then what three things will happen is Bhakti. Bhakti means the devotion will arise. And then par ishanu bhava. Ishanu bhava means there is an experience of the Supreme Lord. You can experience Krishna in your life in so many different ways. The only thing is you have to just connect to Krishna, surrender to Krishna. And you start experiencing that Krishna is very active in your life, in your day-to-day things, small things, you will experience Krishna. So Bhakti, devotion will arise, that experience of Krishna will happen, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, Parishanu Bhavo, and then Virakti. Virakti means detachment from other worldly things. These three occur simultaneously for one who has taken the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the same way, pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating. So very nice verse, which gives us wonderful insights to all of us, and a lot of hope that what this process of bhakti can offer to us. So, as a hungry person eats, what is happening? The hunger is decreased, dissipated, satisfaction increases, and strength also increases. Right. We need not to do any separate work on all of those three. You just engage in eating, and all these things will happen automatically. Similarly, when we try to take the shelter of the Lord, then what happens is bhakti, the devotion will arise. So it is like eating the food, basically. Then detachment. Detachment is hunger for material things will decrease. And then spiritual realization, which is the inner strength. Tusti, pusti, chud apayo. So all your other hunger for worldly things, worldly enjoyment, going here, going there, doing parties and all kinds of stuff that we might be used to of doing all those things, it will just go away. because you're already experiencing that nourishment is coming, and then strength is also increasing, so you don't feel like doing all of those things, right? So this is a very important verse. Even in our contemporary world, we see many people, they struggle with some kind of bad habits, some kind of addiction. It can be anything. It can be some smoking, drinking, or most of the people in this day and age, they're addicted to all these devices, social media, gossip, and some unhealthy entertainment and all of that. And they try to quit by their willpower alone. From today on and this month I'll not do this and something like that. They keep planning, but they just keep falling back again and again and again, right? But here, this verse is giving us the clue that if you really want to become free from all this bad habits and something like that, then what we had to do is, instead of focusing on not doing, no, 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 so instead of saying no, 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 we had to start saying yes, yes, yes to what? Some meaningful spiritual practices, some uplifting association, some kirtan, some seva, and then all other attraction, it naturally weakens. So Prabhupada always teaches us that philosophy of Krishna consciousness, the focus is not more on giving up the things. Don't just simply just keep giving up the things, but it is more focus is on getting the better things in your life. Get something better, some better association, some better practices, one small better habit, like every day I'll chant, every day I'll read 5 minutes. Something you start adding that, and then you will see that so much of nourishment. Tusti, pusti, chud apayo. Automatically there is a satisfaction, there is a nourishment, there is a strength, and then all the hunger for all this worldly enjoyment will just dissipate. And we can quote many, many examples from our scriptures. We always keep talking about Dhruv Maharaj's story. Initially he was very ambitious about the resentment and the revenge against the stepmother, and he wanted the bigger kingdom, greater prestige, and all of that. But when Lord appeared, it's like everything is gone. You're fully just nourished by having the darshan of the Lord. What else you will ask? And that is when he says that I was looking for some broken pieces of glass, but now I got the diamond. So why people struggle in this material world about giving up the bad habits? Because their focus is more on saying no. Now the real formula is, start saying yes to the better things. When you get the diamond, then automatically you start losing interest in broken pieces of glass. When you're already getting a nice Rajbhog plate, some nice meal, why would you eat some junk food or some stale food? You would not be interested. The problem is, when somebody is hungry and he doesn't have anything to eat, then he'll end up eating even the junk, even the stale food, the old food, at the risk of even getting contaminated and diseased. Because there's no other better choice. So unfortunately, most of the people, they're not exposed to this higher taste of Krishna consciousness. There's so much bliss, there's so much of joy, there's so much of satisfaction just by simply sitting and chanting. Simply just come and participate in some nice kirtan, having the beautiful darshan of the Lord, having some little prasadam. It can be some simple prasadam like khichdi. People are so fond of eating khichdi prasad, because that is the higher taste, and Krishna talks about that param drashtva nivardhate. So when we develop the higher taste, we automatically give up the lower taste. So bhakti is the process which actually gives us the higher taste, and then automatically all the lower taste, everything will just go away. Shuddha apayo, all the desires, all the hankering for all these materialistic things, materialistic enjoyment, materialistic activities, it just vanishes. It is not a very conscious effort. Many of the devotees, those who have been sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness, they are the live examples. And just go and talk to them. That's it, how the thing just disappeared in their life without even putting any conscious efforts. And of course, all those things were very unhealthy things. Now they realize what we are doing. All kinds of useless, parties, and then you go spend time and then do all kind of show off, come back fully exhausted, tired, Nobody's happy. But you come to temple, some simple programs, nice kirtan, you enjoy, sing, dance, talk to some devotees, some Krishna Katha you listen, you feel so rejuvenated, so nourished, tusti, pusti, shuddha apayo, you feel so satisfied in the heart. So this is what, when somebody try to take this process of Krishna consciousness, then automatically all these things will come, right? An important thing is many times people are scared. Oh, if you become too serious or too involved in this Krishna consciousness, then probably we have to give up this, give up that. Oh, we can't go to the parties, we can't go to this thing, that thing. Sometimes, initially people are scared of all those kind of ideas. But interestingly, none of those things are being asked ever that you don't do this, don't do that. Of course, few of the things like regulated principles, no meditating, no gambling, no illicit relationship, and no intoxication, those things will be told. But nobody will just ask you that don't go here, don't go there. But automatically what happens, the moment the person start developing the higher days, he naturally from within, he doesn't feel like going and associating and connecting and wasting time into all those useless things. Right? You can think of this example. A small child is so attached to a toy. If somebody touches his toy or take away the toy, like another someone, the brother or sister, they will just fight, they will cry, and they'll just roll on the ground. They'll just make a big mess out of that. How you can touch my toy? Because for the child, the toy is his whole life. Everything about his life is the toy. He's so attached, at least for a few days. After a few days, he'll also not be interested. But this is an example that how, if something, the idea that somebody is taking away my toy makes him, so disturbed and he cry and all that. When the child grows little, adult, he doesn't even care about the toy. He doesn't even look that. He want to throw the toy. Why? Because he got something better in his life. So this is the formula. Many times when people struggle, or any of us, if you think that you're struggling to give up some bad habit or something like that, you had to find some better option, some better habit to add in your life so that automatically this bad habit will disappear. Otherwise, it becomes a struggle to give up and always thinking, oh, I have to give up this, I have to give up this, to say no, 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 and then there is urge and there is a temptation. No, that is not the way. You start developing the higher taste of Krishna. Chanting, reading, hearing, listen some kirtan, some discourses, Prabhupada's, lectures. So many things are there, wonderful things. Just plug yourself into one of those things and then you start enjoying. It might take just few days in the beginning, but you will see that magically, all your needs are fulfilled. So far, you don't have the higher taste. You're driving some needs getting fulfilled from the lower taste. And then you get scared. If I give up this lower and the bad thing, then how all these my needs will be fulfilled. It can be anything like sometime entertainment, some validation, some excitement, but everything comes with Krishna consciousness. We should not say entertainment, but that is also included in that. In the kirtan, you go sing loudly from your heart and then jump and dance, and there's so much of excitement, so much of joy. Everything is there. Yeah. So bhakti provides a deeper fulfillment, and when there is a deeper fulfillment, then automatically other things will just disappear from the life. So currently, our taste in these worldly things is like a disease state, and in that disease state, we are not able to taste the real sweetness of the holy name, the real sweetness of the bhakti yoga. But what is the process? Shadya Krishna Nam Charitadi Sithapi Vidya Pitopatapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kintu Adrad Anudinam Kalusaya Vajasta Swadi Kramad Bhavati Tadgad Mula Hantri. Srila Rupa Goswami explains that Shat Krishna Nam Charitadi Sithapi Vidya, Krishna Nam Charit Adi Adi, the Krishna's holy name, Krishna's Kirtan, Krishna Katha, Krishna's Darshan, everything, it is like the nectar. But because we are avidya, ignorance, there is an infection of this ignorance, avidya. Pito parapt rasanasya narochikanu, like a person who got diseased by the jaundice cannot taste the sugar candy. It tastes bitter. So when we are in this diseased state of life, the bhavarog, then in that infectious state, we are not able to relish the sweetness of the holy name, sweetness of the bhakti yoga. But then what is the way out? The way is you just keep taking that sugar candy. It might taste bitter because you are diseased, but you continue to take that. And that will cure your disease. Kintu adra danudinam kaluseva justa anudinam, every day, whether you like it or you don't like it, you feel like, oh my god, like this too much. Every day I have to chant, I have to read Bhagavad Gita. It might feel like too stressed in the beginning because we are diseased, we are not tasting the nectar. But you keep doing that. And then swadi kramad bhavati tadgad moolhandri. Gradually, swadi, the taste will arise, it will develop, because that will start curing your infection. And the moment you're cured, something which was tasting very bitter will start tasting very sweet. So this is what happens. And the moment you start tasting the sweetness, all other tastes will just go away. You will not be interested because now you are actually tasting the sweetness of the process. So this is the process that we just engage ourselves in Bhakti Yoga. It nourishes tusti, pusti, shuddh, apayo. That satisfaction, nourishment, anticipation of hunger, So in the same way, Bhakti, par ishanu bhavo and virakti. The devotion and the direct experience of the Supreme Lord and the detachment from all these worldly pleasures. These are the natural byproducts of Bhakti Yoga. Automatically you become free from all that. So what seems like a struggle, oh this habit, that habit, and people keep struggling here. Nothing. It just very naturally happens. You don't even worry. Like we can think of another example of Srila Haridas Thakur. He was tested by a prostitute. Prostitute was sent to seduce him. So he did not overcome the temptation by repression. Oh no, this prostitute is there and he's getting tempted. No, I should not think about her. No repression. What happened in Haridas Thakur case? He was simply absorbed in chanting. And because he was driving so much joy and so much bliss, the chanting. So he was not even attracted toward that prostitute but rather what happened, that prostitute transformed completely. Right? So this is the secret, that we should try to absorb ourselves in something higher. And the highest thing that we are all very, very fortunate and that we got this Krishna consciousness. In the beginning, we may not experience the taste, the sweetness, but we take the words from the scriptures and rest assured that the taste will arise one day. The only thing what is needed is our sincere endeavor, sincere desire, sincere attempt, and sincere prayer to Srila Prabhupada, to Lord Sri Krishna. And I'm trying. And then it is all up to you when you want to give me the taste, that sweetness. And when the sweetness comes, no pleasure of this world can attract our heart. Like Acharya, one of the famous Acharya, he sings this very beautiful verse. He says, Yadavadi mama chitta Krishna padara vinde navanavarasadhamni udyatam rantumasid tadavadi vatanari sangame smaryamane Bhavati mukha vikara justo nistivanam cha. So yadavadi mama chitta Krishna padarvinde. The moment I just meditate, I think, I remember Krishna padarvinde, the lotus feet of Krishna, nav navarasadhamni udyatam rantumasid. I experience the newer and newer, I realize the newer and newer taste rasas in my heart. Just by remembering and meditating on Krishna's lotus feet, I start enjoying, relishing that sweetness and the taste. And then what happens? Tadavadi. At that moment, Bat Nari Sangama Smarayamane. If there is a thought of associating with the women, with the intention of enjoying the women, the sex pleasure, Bhavati Mukha Vikaraha, my face turned into curl into distaste, and I spit at that thought. So stu Nistivanam cha. The moment the thought comes, I just spit at the thought. What kind of dirty thought it is? Because see, in this world, the sex pleasure is considered the highest pleasure, but that cannot also attract a person who start experiencing the joy, the bliss, the rasa of bhakti yoga. because automatically you are experiencing that pusti, nourishment, strength, like that. So this is what the bhakti offers. So this is a wonderful process, all inclusive. Everything is there. When we engage ourselves in the bhakti process, then nothing remain to be explored. Whatever you need, excitement, joy, happiness, bliss, everything is included in bhakti, and will be so nourished from within. So this is the process of bhakti yoga we are talking here, and this is another feature of bhakti yoga. So let us sincerely try to practice this bhakti yoga by chanting the holy name, by reading the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, filled with so much glories of the Lord, Lord's pastimes. So spend some time, discipline ourselves in chanting, reading, hearing, and Anudinam every day, Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. It cannot be occasional thing. So just make a discipline, some time for your chanting, some time for your reading, and some time for your hearing. And do that, and then experience Bhakti Pareshanu Bhavo Viraktir. You will have the direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and then Virakti, in detachment from all the unnecessary things. Well, these are the natural occurrences, the part of the process of taking the shelter on the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay, so we'll read more, few more verses. Thank you everyone for joining this evening. Hare